He's also allegedly a scumbag in my opinion. Can you believe it's already been 2 full months of Florida Man Fridays? Yes, Kevin. I mean, because I've recorded so many of these. At the time of recording, literally one has gone out. That's how much faith I have in Florida Man Fridays. Thank you, Kevin, for writing it, by the way. I read it. I'm Simon. Welcome to the show. What's up? That means today is episode 8, the Ocho. Okay, my original aim for this episode was to exclusively feature Florida Man stories that took place in Miami's Guy Ocho. But there aren't anywhere near enough to fill out a whole episode. It turns out that 8th Street Latinas aren't nearly as rowdy as reality kings has led me to believe. Kevin, I have no idea what you're talking about, all these Florida references. Instead, we're going to go with my backup plan. Today's episode will feature Florida Man stories that all involve sports that have appeared on ESPN 8, the Ocho. There are 8 ESPN channels? ESPN is just sports, right? Holy shit, how much sports do we need? Sports.
The team, go sports!
Florida Man threatens pickleball players with a machete. For those of you who've never heard of pickleball, it's essentially just using slightly larger ping pong paddles and a wiffle ball to play tennis. The court is smaller and the net is a couple of inches lower, but it's really just a slower version of tennis. I've heard it's like more accessible tennis, because tennis you can't just, take a racket and go play. It's complicated and difficult. But apparently pickleball is like more accessible, so you can just go and enjoy some pickleball, which is nice. Like table tennis. You don't need to have a lesson in table tennis to know how to play, but tennis, you kind of have to have lessons. And in May of this year, a group of 4 young men were enjoying a late-night game of pickleball doubles in the North Naples Community Center. They were minding their own business when 54-year-old Florida man Joseph Duvall began to approach them. Joseph was working as a maintenance man at the community center, though I'd be willing to wager that he no longer is. As to what happened next, all 4 of the men told similar stories to police. They said Joseph walked over and yelled at them to leave because the courts were closing, kicking over tables and chairs while he did so, because why the fuck not? Dude, just be like, we're closing, and the pickleball people be like, yeah, dude, we got it. We just let's wrap up this set and then we'll go. Why the rage?
I won't do what you tell me.
But this is also the pickleball players. This is the story they told to police, and all 4 of them are, of course, going to stick to the same story. Maybe they're like, hey, fuck off, janitor, you fucking peasant. I'm pickleballing it up, bitch. And then he got angry. Maybe. Allegedly. Possibly not, just my speculation. They then claimed he went to his car, grabbed a machete, and threatened to beat their asses if they didn't leave. Sounds like with that, he's gonna beat them with a machete? That's gonna lead to death, my dudes. Hopefully this goes without saying, but that's not how a machete works. If you want to beat someone's ass, you go to a car and you grab a baseball bat or a tire iron or something. Machetes don't beat asses or text. They're for stabbing, chopping, and probably killing people. I don't think machetes are for stabbing. Like, you don't stab someone with a machete. A machete's like a swish weapon. Unsurprisingly, when police arrived on the scene, they also stated that Joseph smelled strongly of alcohol. However, Joseph had a slightly different version of accounts, though he admitted to yelling at the 4 men to leave. He said that they told him to make them leave. Hey, make us leave, peasant!
Is this some sort of peasant joke that I'm too rich to understand?
He claims that he felt threatened, so it was at that point he grabbed the machete, being the macho man he is. That quote appears in most of the reporting about this case, but it's never specified who actually said it. I really hope that Joseph was the one describing himself that way, but sadly that's probably not the case. It's like, I'm extremely manly. Regardless, police were called to the scene and Duvall was arrested and charged with 4 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intention to kill, and he's currently awaiting trial. Oh no. Dude, don't get drunk and get your machete out. What the fuck?
Good advice.
Florida man killed by a gator while retrieving golf discs. This one is a sad story, but it is still very much a Florida man story. If you happen to play golf on a regular basis, which I definitely don't, me neither, Kevin.
My wife says I play too much golf, so I decided to make a change. I got a new wife.
Oh. You may have encountered a child or a homeless person selling cheap used golf balls. It's a bit of a trope at this point, but it's very much a thing that happens. They will hunt through the woods or dive to the bottom of water hazards to retrieve balls and sell them back to golfers so they can make a little bit of money. Yeah, I mean, golf balls are surprisingly expensive, so I can see why this works. As it turns out, this same thing happens at disc golf courses, except it's obviously discs rather than balls that they're retrieving.
It's a sports term, like slam dunk or ball handler. You call?
One man who took part in this was 47-year-old Florida man Sean McGinnis. Sean was a regular at the Taylor Park Disc Golf Club, although not though not as a member. Better known to locals as Rockstar, he was a homeless veteran who retrieved discs from the 53-acre lake on the course as a means to make money. That is a massive lake. Depending on the brand and condition of the disc, they could resell for $5 to $10 each, much more than a single golf ball.
Like ball handler.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, that is surprisingly expensive. They're also a lot bigger.
That's what she said.
But Rockstar wasn't just selling the discs. If one of the discs he retrieved had a name or a phone number on it, he would make several attempts to return the disc to its original owner free of charge before attempting to sell it. There was obviously a problem with all of this, though, as should have been made evident by this headline. By the headline, yeah, he's getting eaten by a crocodile, isn't he? Or an alligator or whatever.
Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Florida is home to over 1 million alligators, and it's pretty safe to assumption that every body of water has gators in it. In fact, the lake on the golf course was not only known to have alligators, but there were signs surrounding it warning people not to swim in the lake. Yeah, but Rockstar's probably like, well, that's where the good discs are. No one else is willing to take the risk. There were also signs reminding people that it's against Florida law to feed or molest the alligators. I know molest also means that, but it's just got an image of this dude like molesting an alligator in the other way, which is not something I ever wanted to imagine. A homeless dude called Rockstar molesting an alligator.
I'm gonna jam my thumb in its butt, old man. This should really piss it off. Oh yeah, that pissed it off all right.
Although, one of those things I would hope nobody ever actually needed to be told not to do. These signs didn't deter Rockstar, but molest just means interfere with in this case. These signs didn't deter Rockstar or the half dozen other homeless men that would risk their lives to retrieve the disc so that they could afford dinner. According to a frequent guest at the disc golf club, Rockstar had told them that he knew this was going to be the way that he died. So long as he kept up with that line of work, it was a reasonable assumption. Just 2 years earlier in the same lake, another man was bitten in the face by an alligator while retrieving discs. That man survived, but the same couldn't be said for Rockstar. He was found dead in the lake in late May of 2022 after being attacked by an alligator. Trappers captured an alligator from the lake to euthanize it and see if there were human remains inside, though I can't find any reports about whether or not they got the right alligator. Florida man gets violent in shuffleboard rage incidents. Let's be honest, old people have very little left to live for. Unless you can get a spot in one of those special retirement communities for swingers, like the Villagers, there's not so much joy left to be had. Yeah. Apparently, like retirement communities. I was like talking to a mate of mine whose grandma went to a retirement community. And he was like saying like, oh yeah, no, the old people, they all get dementia and they don't like realize that they're married. And so they're all like boning each other. And I'm like, is that true? And he's like, yeah, bro, it's true. It's like
Sex.
Old people in retirement communities, dude. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about molesting alligators. What the fuck? Their families never visit, rarely call, and nobody really cares what they say or think anymore. As such, when an elderly person finds a hobby to take part in and enjoy, they take it deadly seriously. Such was the case for 81-year-old Florida man Herbert Hayden. Hayden was a simple man living a simple life in St. Petersburg in a mobile home park, but he also enjoyed playing shuffleboard. Pinellas Park Senior Center featured an open-air pavilion with 16 shuffleboard courts. I have no idea what shuffleboard is. I've heard of it. I know it's something old people play, but if someone showed me, asked me to like describe a shuffleboard court, I'd have no idea. I didn't even know if it's played with a ball.
Ball handler? He's still there, huh?
And they had league competitions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The leagues ran from 9 a.m. to 12:45 p.m., meaning seniors would have plenty of time afterwards to hit the showers and still make it to the local buffet for the early bird dinner special. I thought Kevin was going to say something about the old people fucking each other again.
You stay classy, San Diego.
I'm glad he didn't, but I'm also not glad that I did. It was never disclosed what caused the disagreement, but it went from arguing to yelling to Herbert punching the other elderly man in the face. He then struck the man with his shuffleboard cue, damaging the cue and leaving a I had no idea shuffleboard was played with cues, and leaving a 4-inch scratch on the victim's face. Oh no, a scratch! Because my previous joking aside, Florida man is never too old to throw down and fuck you up. Herbert pled no contest to battery charges and was fined $1,000, and a restraining order was put into place to keep him away from the victim. Florida man charged with assault for throwing pizza dough. Did you know that there's such a thing as competitive pizza dough throwing? I did, Kevin, actually. After watching some performances, the best way I can describe it is it's like a lot like ribbon dancing. Brilliant. Thanks, Kevin. That really clears things up because I've got a clear image in my mind of what the ribbon dancing is.
You uncultured swine!
Except the ribbon is a pizza and the music is all heavy metal and Skrillex. That's nothing like those pizza dough throwing performances that occurred in this story, but you'll understand why I had to include this anyway in a moment. It was April the 11th of this year, and 32-year-old Florida man Joseph Trasselt was happily making himself a pizza in the kitchen of his apartment. This wasn't some $5 frozen pizza that you just toss in the oven for half an hour either. He was making it from scratch. If making pizza from scratch sounds too complicated or ambitious for you, do not worry. Joseph explained that the voices in his head were instructing him on how to make his pizza. I don't think that's going to go particularly well, Joe.
No, I won't kill them. Well, maybe will.
However, while trying to prepare the pizza, Joseph was disturbed by a sound coming from his roommate's bedroom. His roommate was coughing, but there was something about this cough in particular that enraged Joseph. He grabbed some of the pizza dough, went to his roommate's room, and pelted him in the hip with the dough. He then slammed his roommate's dresser and forcefully pulled all of the drawers out of it, damaging the furniture. Joe's a psycho. Joe, what the fuck? Unsure what was going to happen next, and because this probably wasn't the first time something along these lines had happened, Joseph's roommate called the police. While being interviewed by the police, Joseph admitted to throwing the pizza dough and damaging the dresser, explaining that he did it because his roommate's coughing was irritating and it made him mad.
You may be entitled to financial compensation.
The police be like, yeah, that's actually a good excuse. Go on then, get out of here, you scamp. Joseph was charged with criminal mischief and battery over the incident. It's unclear whether the voices in his head told him to do those things, or if it was all his idea and those particular schizophrenic delusions just there to help Joseph out, to help Joseph complete domestic tasks. Joseph's got the mildest and best form of schizophrenia. It just helps him out with chores. Florida man abandons family to pursue career as a breakdancer. Okay, so technically this headline is a lie, but it's a funny story anyway, and one that went viral earlier this year, so it felt like it was worth including. It began with a TikTok from comedian and writer Maddie Hart, who asked people to share stories of their trauma that were actually funny. She said that she would start and explain that when she was 5 years old, her father abandoned her mother, and her 4 siblings to go and become a professional breakdancer. That sounds pretty bad, though. At the time that happened, Ben Hart was not yet a Florida man, though he is now. Maddie went on to explain how her father not only left them to become a breakdancer, but that he actually got really good at it. Well, yeah, you abandon your family to do it. You better become fucking good at it, my dude. Ben's dancing went viral, and he appeared on shows like Good Morning America as the world's oldest competitive breakdancer. However, after Maddie's video had racked up tens of millions of views and been picked up by countless media outlets, Ben decided to respond with a video of his own. He explained that while what Maddie said would have seemed accurate from her perspective, it wasn't actually the way things went down. Ben claimed that what actually happened was that he and her mother separated in 2004 and got divorced in 2005, but during most of that time, he said that he only lived a mile away and remained a part of the children's lives. There were multiple videos back and forth between Maddie and Ben, airing out all of their family drama for the world to see. How about just get on a FaceTime call, guys? You don't need to do this via TikTok. It's public.
But the drama.
I'm not normally into this sort of nonsense, but it's actually a pretty entertaining watch if you have nothing else to do with your life. Yeah, I'm not going to watch it, Kevin. I've got other shit to do with my life. After finishing this video, that is. You're goddamn right. Of course, that just leaves us the question of who we're supposed to believe, Maddie or Ben. Well, it's hard to say. From a logical standpoint, Ben's explanation of why him suddenly moving out of the house would appear like abandonment to a young child makes sense. He even shared family photos and videos as proof that, at least in some capacity, he was part of his children's lives growing up. Ben also claimed to have spent $5 million supporting the children between child support payments and the divorce settlement. Jesus Christ, did I just had to go back and read that again. $5 million. That all said, he also is He's also allegedly a scumbag in my opinion. Maddie's original TikTok was just a 90-second trauma dump explained in a comedic fashion, which elicited a 10-minute response video from her father. She then made another TikTok saying that she had been really nice in her first video, basically painting her father as a whimsical goofball who just wanted to break dance. Maddie said that the reality of the situation was much darker than she'd initially explained, though she refrained from going into details. Ben responded to this with multiple 30 to 90-minute videos explaining why he is amazing and Maddie was being dumb, including a 90-minute video titled "Why I Cut My Daughter Out of My Will."
You're exhausting.
Dude, what are you doing? You're an old man. Stop making 90-minute drama videos for YouTube. What the fuck? Since it was discovered by onlookers during the course of all of this drama that Ben had spent a year in prison, he went on to explain that the only reason that happened to him was because the judge was part of the woke mob. Of course he was. The judge couldn't possibly be impartial. He's also a boomer crypto bro who seems to exclusively wear shirts promoting Bitcoin. Oh, it's really cringe, dude. But hey, as far as men in their 60s goes, he's pretty good at breakdancing. Florida man wins Microsoft Excel World Championship. When it comes to nerdy competitions, there is nothing more terrifying than a teenager with nothing better to do with their time. When the Tetris World Championship premiered in 2010, Jonas Nubar was the undisputed GOAT, winning 7 of the first 8 World Championships before being dethroned by 17-year-old Joseph Saley. Since then, competitive Tetris has been dominated by teenagers. Similarly, there was the chess boom of 2020, when both boredom from COVID lockdown and the Netflix series The Queen's Gambit caused a huge spike in the number of people playing online chess. This has resulted in a deluge of teenagers who are now playing at the Grandmaster level, some of whom have never even played a single over-the-board tournament. That's incredible. Being a Grandmaster is some real shit. These teenagers became so good so quickly that former FIDE world champion Vladimir Kramnik has very publicly insinuated, but technically accused, that a number of them are cheating simply because he can't accept how terrifyingly talented they are. But for 15-year-old Florida man Kevin Dimakuligan, the nerdy sport of choice in 2018 was Microsoft Excel. And he doesn't even have COVID as an excuse, or that excellent Netflix series about Excel. This isn't a typical Florida man story where something insane and possibly illegal happens. It was just a regular competition in which Kevin won the $7,000 prize for achieving the title of Microsoft Excel World Champion. I just wanted to include this story to share with you all that not only is there an Excel World Championship, but it was broadcast on the Ocho. Florida man, what the fuck is it though? How do you win it? Excel's not something you win, it's something you use to do pivot tables or something. Florida man assaults teen over dodgeball game. It just wouldn't be the Ocho without a story about dodgeball. 22-year-old Florida man Khalid Dedik was one of the participants in what appears to be a relatively casual game of dodgeball at Sky Zone Trampoline Park. I love a good trampoline park. Although Sky Zone does host the Ultimate Dodgeball Championship, this appears to have been a regular game that anybody could sign up for. Throughout the course of the game, Khalid spent his time dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging. Nailed that shit, while trying to eliminate his competitors. Oh yes, and he also spent his time talking shit. Witnesses claimed that for the duration of the game, Khalid was threatening to physically assault the other players. And that's when it happened. Somebody had the audacity to hit Khalid with a rubber ball, you know, the literal objective of the game. He identified the 15-year-old that had struck him and immediately charged to tackle the kid, but he fell during his attempt. After standing back up, Khalid slapped the teenager in the face, leaving a big red mark. Khalid, you psycho, it's just a game. It's just a game, bro. I assumed that Khalid would have been arrested and charged with assault following this incident, but it turns out I was incorrect. Don't get me wrong, he was absolutely arrested, but he was charged with child abuse rather than assault. Fucking good. Don't be a psycho.
Good advice.
There were also additional charges for violating his probation from a previous conviction for burglary and trafficking stolen property. I guess the moral of the story is that if you aren't emotionally stable enough to keep your cool after being hit by a rubber ball, you probably shouldn't voluntarily be playing dodgeball. Yes. While I couldn't find Florida man stories for all of the offerings that have appeared on ESPN 8 The Ocho, I thought I'd leave you with a list of some of the other sports that have aired. Quidditch. I saw a video of this on YouTube of people playing Quidditch and it was fucking cringe as fuck. Chess boxing, pillow fighting, paper airplane competitions, air guitar, bed racing, cheese rolling, and cherry pit spitting. But not Magic the Gathering. That aired on ESPN 2. Yes, really, Simon. I mean, yeah, fair play. It's like, I understand that. Like, the ESPN 8 seems like really, really random sports. Like, chess boxing, I understand the appeal. Paper airplane competitions, understand the appeal. That's about it. Those are the two that I mean, I wouldn't watch them, but I could understand why people would watch them. That's the end of the episode. Thanks for being here. Just got an image of this dude, like, molesting an alligator in the other way.